Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this very special webinar, How to Maximize Profits While Transitioning to Business Central. My name is Elizabeth Morris, and I'm the event manager here at Cavallo. I have just a couple housekeeping items to mention before we dive in. Today's webinar will be about 45 minutes, and we'll leave time for Q&A at the very end. You are welcome to ask questions at any point throughout the webinar using that Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen, and we will do our best to get to all of those questions at the very end. Today's webinar is being recorded, so you'll be able to view it within 24 hours of the end time. Feel free to share it with colleagues if they missed it. We are excited to be joining forces with InsightWorks today. Mark Hamblin, president of InsightWorks, is joining us, and product manager Colin Orlando from Cavallo. GP users considering the transition to Business Central can combine Cavallo's order intelligence with InsightWorks' mobile warehousing and shipping solutions to maintain operations, enhance efficiency, and drive profits. So without further ado, I'm going to kick it over to our presenters today to introduce themselves. So Colin, let's start with you.
Yeah, appreciate that, Elizabeth. So hello, everyone. My name is Colin Orlando, as Elizabeth mentioned. I'm a product manager at Cavallo. Have about 8 years of experience in distribution, 5 of which is at Cavallo between a number of various roles. I've had the pleasure of working with our clients that are using GP as well as Business Central, and super happy to be here today. So thank you all for making time, and I'll pass things over to Mark Hamblin for a quick intro.
Hi, afternoon or morning, everyone. I've been working with Nav and Business Central for almost 20 years now, so I've been in the space a while. And prior to that was working in operations and inventory management and all sorts of things. So I've had that on the ground experience, and a lot of the software that we're talking about in Business Central, I've been working with for 20 years now. I'm a solution advisor. I'm the president as well, but we try and understand what you need and present a solution that may fit your needs.
Great. Appreciate that, Mark. So I'll go ahead and kick things off from the Cavallo side. And before we jump into the actual demonstration portion, I'd like to just quickly cover an agenda. So we'll do a quick overview of Cavallo, who we are and where we came from. I'll then jump into a live demonstration of our product mission control within Business Central. And then I'll pass things over to Mark to do the same with InsightWorks. So again, a quick overview and a demonstration of how their product works inside of Business Central. And then, as Elizabeth mentioned, we'll wrap up with a Q&A session, and feel free to drop questions as the webinar progresses. All right, so Cavallo has been around in distribution for 20 plus years now. And we were actually founded by a distributor who was looking to solve a very specific problem in the Microsoft Dynamics GP space, mainly around order visibility, workflow, and order automation. That problem ended up being very widespread throughout the GP market, to say the least. And so we decided to take that solution and bring it to market as SalesPad, so Cavallo's first product. And over that time, we've continued to develop solutions that go beyond the Great Plains ecosystem. So solutions that range through a number of ERPs, Business Central, F&O, Acumatica, and we continue to expand our solutions into more and more ERP systems. Now, over that time, we've created hundreds of millions of value for our customers in our solutions, such as the automation and the business rules that you'll see today, specifically from the Mission Control product. And last but not least, I just wanted to touch on our NPS score, which is 95. And so for those on the call who might not be familiar with the Net Promoter Score, it's just essentially a score saying how likely are you to recommend this product to a friend or to another business. The industry standard is anywhere between 30 and 40, so 95 is considered world-class, and it's something we're extremely proud of at Cavallo over a 20-year history. I know we have a lot of GP folks on the call, and so before we jump into the cloud side of the house, I did just want to show this quick graphic on screen. It's the fixed versus modern life cycle of Dynamics Great Plains. I'm sure this is something that you've seen over and over again coming from the Microsoft side of the house as they continue to push more and more of their users to their cloud-based solutions. And so you see on the screen here, Dynamics GP has a mainstream support end date of 9/30/2029. One thing I'd also like to point out is you see the purple square below that extends with no mainstream support ending date. And that is solutions by Cavallo, such as SalesPad and Profit Analytics. So we just want to continue to reiterate our support for our GP users and for those who we know want to stay on GP because it works for their business at the time. As a matter of fact, we still see net new implementations of Great Plains paired with SalesPad to this day. So GP isn't going anywhere. And I just want to reiterate, SalesPad is available for you users who aren't quite ready to make that move to the cloud. And Profit Analytics is a great solution if you want to start to bring your GP instance into the 21st century a little bit more. And it's also a solution that you can take with you ERP to ERP. So taking that piece of your tech stack and moving it with you. So it can enhance your GP experience now and can follow you to another cloud solution later. Now, we also know that there are a number of users here who are considering moving to the cloud. And we also understand, both Cavallo and InsightWorks, that ERPs are the heart of any product-led organization. So it's the most important piece of that tech stack. And with moving to a new ERP system comes a number of risks, such as the ones listed here. We have data migration challenges, user adoption training, integration to existing systems, so think CRM, WMS, tax solutions, and of course the downtime and productivity loss that comes with this. So highlighting these challenges, it's super important to leverage ISVs in the space, so independent software vendors like Cavallo, like InsightWorks, in the cloud solution that you're looking to move towards, so that you eliminate any sort of complexities and emerge more efficient than ever with your new solutions. And Cavallo and InsightWorks have a combined 40 years of experience in distribution. So we really know what we're talking about, and we really want to help that transition as you move from your on-premise solution to a solution like Business Central. All right, so now I'd like to move on to the Cavallo cloud offering known as the Order Intelligence Platform. And currently we have three main offerings in the cloud that encompasses Order Intelligence Platform. The first of these is known as Profit Scan, and Profit Scan is a free to download extension. It's available on Microsoft App Stores today. So for anyone who's considering moving to Business Central on the call and has a demo or sandbox environment, or any of our live Business Central users that are on the call today, this is something you can download and take advantage of now. And essentially what Profit Scan allows you to do, as the screen says, identify and eliminate margin eroding issues in real time. And what that experience kind of looks like is a nice onboarding, 5 to 10 minutes once you download the extension. And Profit Scan will essentially prompt you, what is your base target margin for all your quotes and orders? And then it'll allow you to get even more granular and say, what are my line level targets for my quotes and orders? After you complete that process, it'll drop you into a nice report showing you all of those orders that are missing your expectations. So Profit Scan, free to take advantage of today, and it'll allow you to find any order defects in real time. The main product that we'll be taking a look at today is known as Mission Control, and kind of builds on top of the idea of Profit Scan a little bit, in the sense that we're allowing you to then fix those quotes and orders that are below your standards by implementing guard rules like our business rules, and allowing you to name each step of your process through our workflow engine, layering in different automations. So we'll take a deeper look at that here in a second with the live demonstration, but Mission Control is that next step into our cloud order intelligence platform. And last but not least, Profit Analytics, which I mentioned at the beginning of this call. This is our analytics solution. It's a deep analytics and AI solution that will allow you to, of course, take this and move with you to each and every one of your ERP systems, but it'll analyze billions of data points in your ERP, specifically related to your posted invoices, and allow you to get to the bottom of all of your individual margin leaks. So things that even a data scientist might not be able to get to, Profit Analytics can do out of the box as a turnkey solution. But as I mentioned, we're really going to focus today on Mission Control and what that brings to your Business Central environment as you look to move from on-prem to cloud. And Mission Control is really built with two main personas in mind. So we have a web application side of Mission Control that has a Mission Control dashboard, a workflow builder, and the ability to create custom fields. With the Mission Control dashboard, we can expect the business leader persona to set their workflows, their guardrails via their business rules, and then monitor their business on the go with our intuitive Mission Control dashboard. So you can see real time, as we'll show in the demo, where your margin stands, and answer that very important question of when will you be profitable while you're on the go, without the need to actually get into the ERP system itself. And then the second persona is the order takers, the individuals who do work within the ERP system day in and day out. We need to make sure that we have a solution that allows them to leverage the automations that the business leaders are putting in place. So we built a robust API connection into Business Central that will allow those order takers to visualize where their orders are inside of that configured workflow, and also leverage all of the automations and business rules that come with it while doing their order entry inside of the ERP system. So with that being said, we will jump into the demonstration portion. And I'm going to begin inside of the Mission Control web application. So as you'll see, we'll start here showing the Mission Control dashboard briefly. I'd like to come back to this. So take a mental note of what this dashboard looks like now, but we're going to go ahead and begin on our workflows. So as you'll see, I can click into my workflows and I can create a individual workflow for my quote, order, invoice, or return document types, all the doc types supported by Business Central out of the box. And clicking into my order workflow, it's broken into several different components on this builder screen. So this is a no-code workflow builder tool. And on the left-hand side of our screen, we can name each and every step in our process with our queue builder. So this was kind of the secret sauce of SalesPad when we originally started. It's a saying that we say around Cavallo quite often. If you've met one distributor, you've met one distributor. And so everyone's got a unique process when it comes to how they go from quote to cash. This queues builder will really allow you to name each and every step in that cycle. Once you've named each and every step in that cycle, the main part of our screen is going to focus on leveraging the automations that Mission Control provides. So you'll see in my workflow example here, all of my orders are going to begin in my new order queue, and they're expected to transition into my warehouse queue. However, I also have an alternate path automation set up to recognize if a customer doesn't have a default credit card, move it to a customer review queue so that we can make sure that we're taking payment at the correct point in our cycle. Now, beyond our alternate paths, we also have on exit and on entry automations that can take place. So once my order does successfully transition to my warehouse queue, we're going to do things like authorize our credit card payment for the balance. We're going to now commit the inventory to the order. And then we're also going to generate a warehouse pick and a warehouse ship document for that reserved quantity that was committed inside of Business Central, all with one submit. So think about the number of clicks that we're actually reducing from the order to cash cycle by leveraging these automations and naming each step in our process. And another great thing about this is it also empowers business leaders to say, hey, I have sales representatives who might commit inventory earlier in the cycle than I'd like them to. I'm going to go ahead and name exactly where the sales rep can commit that inventory. So it's in my step named warehouse in this case. And the last portion of this screen is our business rules. And like I mentioned previously, these are the guardrails that allow you to have 100% perfect orders throughout your order to cash cycle. So in this example of my business rule, we'll go ahead and look at the margin review rule. This is simply stating if any of my line items margin percent are less than 10%, I want that order flagged. I want specific individuals to go look at that order before it progresses on in its life cycle. And we've also built in notifications to limit the downtime between review cycles as well. So as a reviewer, you'll be notified right away when that document is in a review queue. And as a submitter, you'll understand exactly when a decision has been made about the broken rule. So super powerful tool. Now, I'd asked to remember the Mission Control dashboard, and that comes into play once you've named each and every step in your process, you've configured your workflow. I can then, as a business leader, navigate over to my Mission Control dashboard and view each and every queue that I've made and exactly the progress that each order has made in that life cycle. As a business leader on the go, I might not get into the ERP system every day, and I just want a nice, quick dashboard with colors that will pop out to me and tell me exactly what's going on with an order at any given point. And that's exactly what this dashboard is built for. So whether you're using the global search feature and allowing you to really pare down to the exact order you're looking for, or you're just trying to do a quick scan of all of your orders, you'll be able to answer that question of when are you profitable. You'll be able to see the reds and the greens. In addition, if you have to drill into any of these orders individually, you can open them directly inside of the ERP with one click, or you can even leverage our action logs here, our activity logs, to see who did what at which step in the process and identify where any of those chokeholds might be in your process. So that's the Mission Control web application side of the house. And as I mentioned, we've kind of built with two personas in mind here. Transitioning over to Business Central, I'm going to mainly discuss the Cavallo API integration into Business Central and do a very standard sales order entry demo for you, for those of you who haven't seen this product on the call today. So via the API connection, Cavallo is actually pushing over a number of different individual user interface elements. So take these tiles, for example, on the homepage. You'll be able to visualize your approval queues, whether you need to actually take action on a document yourself or all of the documents that need action on them. Or again, as an order taker, you can drill directly into a mission control dashboard that was built inside of Business Central for order takers to leverage. Now, again, this is the same exact workflow that we just visualized inside of the Mission Control web application. And another core feature of the original SalesPad product, and one that we've really found as we speak to distributors, is that my order processors aren't always in all of my queues, so they don't need to see all of them at one point, which is why we built the ability to edit your queues and toggle which ones are visible on this screen, so that as long as there's a total document greater than 0 in that queue, you as an order taker or sales order processor know you might have something to actually do on that order. So really paring down this screen to your specific role. And at the point where you're ready to jump into that queue and start to look at the orders within it, simply click the name of the queue and we'll bring you directly into the queue with all of the documents visualized. Now, I do want to make a couple of call outs here. Areas where we have listened to our users and heard that Business Central is lacking is in related document visibility and document status visibility. I'll go ahead and start with document status visibility, and you'll see here on the right-hand side of my screen, we've built in the Cavallo document status fact box. Out of the box, Business Central only has open and release statuses for your orders. Cavallo has really dug down and identified a number of other statuses that we can surface, things such as you have an open pick, an open ship, your inventory is reserved or partially reserved, the document needs payment, is paid or partially paid. So at any moment in your process, just highlighting an order within the ERP system, you'll be able to see what actually is going on at a granular level. And the second piece here is the related documents column. So as distributors, we know there's a ton of different documents that happen within the ERP system at any given point that all tie back to that parent sales order. The related documents column here will allow me to view all of those documents with a single click and then drill directly into them. It's something that Business Central really lacks as far as visibility goes. So at this point, as a sales order processor, I'm going to go ahead and create a new sales order. Now you can do this in a number of places inside of Business Central. I'm just doing this directly from within the Cavallo provided functionality here for the demonstration purposes today. And will be brought into our blank sales order. I'll go ahead and enter my demo customer for this order and recalculate my dimensions. And we see a Datum Corporation has been queued up for this sales order. Now, those same areas that I mentioned, we have Cavallo document statuses here on the right-hand side. This will update real time as you continue the order through its process. Also, we have visualization into our business rules. So any of those guardrails that your leaders have set up, you'll know real time if one of them is breaking as you submit the order with our submit button inside of Business Central. And then lastly, the workflow queue. So of course, understanding where that order is in its life cycle at any given point. So I'll go ahead here and enter a couple of parts for the demonstration today. And as if I'm a sales order, or a sales order processor rather, I'll go ahead and change my quantities around. And in this particular example, let's say I'm heavily trying to discount one of my line items prices to try and make sure I win this deal over. Now, before I've even submitted to the Cavallo workflow engine, you'll notice on the right-hand side of my screen, we're recognizing in real time that margin review rule that we discussed earlier is being broken. But if this is ignored for whatever reason, and the submit button is clicked, they'll be presented with a nice pop-up screen saying you're breaking a rule, telling you exactly what rule it was and what line items are breaking the rule. You have the ability, if you scroll down, to continue to add comments so that your reviewers can see any of those comments. There's also a history of them on the right-hand side here. And then we can go ahead and submit our order for review. Now, at this point, the order is locked down until one of those approvers actually take action there and go and approve the order. You'll see it's in a margin review queue. I can't click the drop down. I can't move the order, but I can click view and approve the order if I am an approver. We have it in several different places inside of Business Central to make this as convenient of a process as possible. And as an approver now, I can go in and view exactly what happened with this business rule, along with any related comments, of course, and select my line item and click approve. Now, if this is the last broken rule in the chain, now the order is going to attempt to progress from my original new order queue into my warehouse queue. And like we mentioned previously, that can come with a number of automations that run. Things like taking partial payments, creating your warehouse documents for you, reserving your inventory. So as a part of that one click to go ahead and approve my business rule, all of those automations are running in the background without the need to take manual actions within the ERP system itself. So you'll see my rules are approved. I'm now in my warehouse queue, and all of these different automations have ran. We now have a open warehouse pick and ship document. We partially authorized the sales document, and we partially reserved whatever we could that was in stock. And you'll also notice we have a quantity remaining, which means there's evidently a back order that's occurring with this particular sales order. Now, at this point, the InsightWorks software can continue to work off of the warehouse documents that we've just generated. So the shipment and the pick software, the pack software, all of that can recognize the standard BC functionality that we both leverage, and take action and continue those items out the door and ship them out to the customers. But you'll see here, we're still missing the reservation of quantity 3 here for my Tokyo guest chair in this case. So that's why we're seeing the quantity remaining status and a partially reserved status. Cavallo has also built in automations to handle these scenarios. So once I click the submit button again, I actually have a queue set up where this document will be recognized that it has quantity remaining, and it will be sent to a PO creation queue to essentially automatically generate the purchase order to my preferred vendor, and then reserve that inventory back to this parent sales order so that we don't have any inventory being cross-allocated. Again, really big attention here on making sure that we have 100% perfect order. So you'll see here now on the right-hand side of my screen that I have an open purchase order, and I'm fully reserved now because that inventory is set to this particular order. Now, once this inventory comes in, of course, InsightWorks software can go ahead and grab that inventory and run with it on their scanners and utilizing their software. So we're working hand in hand in that fashion. Now, before I hand things over to Mark one more time, I do just want to jump into a quick recap slide. So Cavallo is here to support our GP users until the point where they're comfortable going to the cloud. And I mentioned 2 potential products that we offer, that being SalesPad and Profit Analytics for GP. Profit Analytics specifically is a cloud-based tool that will bring GP into the 21st century with reporting and allow you to take that product from ERP to ERP. Leveraging automation tools like we saw today with Mission Control, of course, it significantly reduces the amount of clicks that go into every order, but we also try to ensure perfect orders every single time through your workflow while allowing insights like we saw at the Mission Control dashboard, answering the question, when will I know that I'm profitable? Of course, with Mission Control, that's at the time of order entry and not at your 7-month or year-end reporting. And as your business transitions to the cloud, InsightWorks and Cavallo are here to support that transition. Please reach out. We have 40+ years of combined distribution expertise. We would love to be a part of that transition from your on-prem solution to a Business Central solution. So really appreciate your time today and your attention. I'm going to go ahead and pass things over to Mark Hamblin for a quick intro and a demo of his software.
And thank you very much, Colin. That was great. Sorry for the transition there, but what I'd like to do is just cover off a little bit about InsightWorks before we get into the demo and talk a little bit about the software that we offer that is, as Colin mentioned, very complementary to what you get from Cavallo and Mission Control and all the other products that are there. For us, InsightWorks, we've been around for about 10 years now, working in the Business Central space, and prior to that, the NAV on-prem space. We're one of the first, companies in the cloud on AppSource. I think we were the 11th app on AppSource at the time, and since then we've got over 40,000 installs from AppSource of the various products. And we work through resellers, so a lot of the GP partners are also looking at implementing Business Central as well. So chances are your existing partner already works with us. If it's something you want to consider moving to the cloud at some point, you may already have somebody that can help you out there. Now, what we're going to discuss today mostly is really on the warehouse side, right? We want that fulfillment. So we've got the order entry from Cavallo, and now we're going to fulfill it in the warehouse. And on that note, we've got a very broadly adopted solution for the warehouse in Business Central and shipping solutions. So we ship a ton of stuff through our shipping solutions. We also do a bunch of manufacturing stuff as well. All these blocks over here on the side are kind of our full product line. We're not going to cover off manufacturing much today, but if you had questions about that, let us know and we can help you out. Now, speaking of the products, again, we're going to focus on the warehousing side of it, but we do also have a number of solutions that can, sort of ease that transition to the cloud if you're looking to go there, right? So these are all free applications that are available if you're on Business Central Cloud. And this top line here is sort of more the technical side where we've got cloud printing, right? So as soon as you go to the cloud, you've got an issue with how do we print to our local printers in the cloud. We've got a solution for that with the print node connector. We've got Colin mentioned data migration is an issue when you move to the cloud. So we've got tools that help sort of simplify that data migration task, and also to look at data and address data once it's loaded in your testing and things like that. And then finally, generating barcodes from Business Central. Now, Business Central does have native capabilities for that, but we extend that a little bit to make it easy to generate barcodes if you want to get into barcode scanning in the warehouse. Now, these guys at the bottom here, these are the ones that you're probably more interested in because those are sort of the ones the end users are going to be looking at and using. So the graphical scheduler allows us to schedule production or even schedule pick documents or quality inspections or whatever. Any data you want to present graphically and potentially drag and drop around the screen to assign or to schedule, that's what this thing can do. And it's free. You plug it in and away you go. All of these free apps you can install from AppSource, which is the Microsoft App Marketplace. And you don't even have to tell us you've done it. You just grab it and you use it and you're off to the races. So yeah, the graphical scheduler, visualizing and dragging and dropping data. Doc Extender is, document management, drag and drop document management. So Business Central does do, drag and drop as well. We take it a little bit further, allow you to store it in SharePoint and set up automation rules and alerts and all those sorts of things in SharePoint. So you've got a more robust document management solution within Business Central. And then these last two are more applicable to sort of what we want to talk about today, which are, the warehouse activities. So when we get into the demo in a moment here, I'm going to talk about, some other warehouse apps we have, but these are the free ones. So WMS Express, if you only need sort of the key capabilities within the warehouse for barcoding, such as receiving and put away, picking or shipping, bin-to-bin movements, and inventory counts, WMS Express is likely all you'll ever need. Probably 75% of the people that need to do barcoding in Business Central, they'll use WMS Express, completely free, plug it in, runs on Android devices, and you're good to go. Ordership Express is obviously for shipping. And if you're doing domestic parcel shipments, that might be all you ever need as well. So what it allows you to do is right within Business Central, generate your shipping labels, get your tracking information, get the cost of those labels, all of that without leaving Business Central. And the app again is free. And on top of that, if you don't have accounts with some of the carriers like UPS, FedEx, USPS, things like that, Canada Post, if you're in Canada, you'll get discounted rates by using Ordership Express as well. So you get the benefit of the free software and discounted shipping rates, and it runs within Business Central. Now, if you need to do a little more, we have another tool called Dynamic Ship, we'll talk about in a second here, that can do international shipping and LTL and all sorts of stuff. Everything you likely need in a shipping solution, Dynamic Ship can do for you. So on that note, let's look at sort of what we see, as solutions that we provide in a typical warehouse. So there's a bunch more. I'm going to focus on sort of some of the key applications that we use within the warehouse. So the first one is this order fulfillment worksheet. And where that would come into play is if you've got, sort of a more advanced warehouse configuration. So, the Cavallo software will create the shipments and the picks for you, all that beautifully as the order goes in, it's all automated and bang, you've got a pick document that you can execute, within the warehouse. But if you got something where you need to do wave picking, or you need to do, scheduled waves or batch picking, things like that, you may want to look at order fulfillment worksheets. So a little bit of a different use case where you've got more of a warehouse supervisor managing what gets picked and what's going out the door versus those picks getting generated directly from the order entry. But very compatible and complementary to what you just saw with Colin. Now, once we've got those picks, again, whether it's generated from something like that or directly from the order entry side of it, the automated queues and everything, what we need to do now is actually execute that within the warehouse. And ideally, you do that with barcodes because you've got that physical verification that, hey, beep, I scanned that item. That's the item that I'm picking. I didn't grab the wrong item. And it really does help improve efficiencies, reduce missed ships, all those sorts of things. And again, we have the two applications you can use it. WMS Express. Again, if all you need to do is picking and receiving or inventory counts, that's probably all you need. You grab it and away you go. And by the way, we do have what we call a quick start implementation for that. Fixed price, very low cost, very quick and easy, and you're up and running within a few days. However, we also have this Warehouse Insight. Warehouse Insight is really the full WMS solution that we have within Business Central. And it does a heck of a lot more. You can tailor it to your specific requirements, which is important if you're coming from an existing system where you may have a WMS already, or you have specific processes you want to enable within the warehouse. Warehouse Insight is very configurable and customizable to allow you to sort of encode those processes into the solution. All right. And this is what we'll look at here in a moment. Now, once we've picked the orders and we're ready to go, of course, it's going to go out to the shipping solutions. So we already talked about Order Ship Express here, but Dynamic Ship, again, it's got a packaging interface, allows you to do LTL. It's got full rate quoting, multi-carrier, again, everything you likely need or almost certainly need within a shipping solution, Dynamic Ship will do for you. All right, so with that, we're going to jump in and have a quick look at what this looks like. So I'm going to start here in Business Central, just real quick, to sort of talk about Warehouse Insight a bit. Now, WMS Express works the same way. We are built right into Business Central. So we're not talking about a separate WMS that you have to integrate and do batch transfers or any of that kind of stuff. Everything you need to do with Warehouse Insight is in Business Central. So you move to the cloud, and one of the nice things I didn't actually mention, if you're using WMS Express and Order Ship Express, that saves you the cost of, maybe going to a full WMS and everything else, and helps offset the cost of moving to the cloud if that's a concern. But when you go to Warehouse Insight here, again, the ability to customize it, you can look at all the applications that are built. You can build your own applications within Business Central. So you can build your own little mobile application with the application wizard in 10 minutes to extend the solution, or use our add-on catalog, which is a little marketplace of additional capabilities and full applications like proof of delivery, fixed asset counting, all of those sorts of things that you can just plug into the system with one click, and they're all free, and all the code is available for them as well. All right, so again, just real quick, everything you can do, everything you need to do within the system as far as configuration, setup, customization is done right from within Business Central. Now, what happens is once you've installed it, run the setup wizard, and everything's set up, that's going to be available on your handheld device. So let's actually have a look at that. So I'm going to open up my screen here. This is the handheld device I have in my hand, and that's what it looks like. So this is, a pretty typical, I'm just going to let this thing focus there. This is a pretty typical, device style that we see in the warehouse. But, there's lots of different styles. You can get ones that, don't have any physical keypad. You can use tablets. You can use whatever you like. This runs on Android, which is pretty much the standard on warehouse devices now. And, the app gets installed, and all of these applications you see here are the ones that are in Business Central. So if I wanted to create a new application like these, 3 down here, job consumption, requisitions, inventory recording, those are custom applications I built myself with the application wizard. It took me about 10 minutes each, and I've got those applications available and ready to go, right? So you don't need necessarily a developer to go in there and do these sorts of things. You'd have a business analyst or a consultant build these applications for you. And fixed asset count is one that came from the add-on catalog. click a button. I can now print fixed asset labels, scan them, do all those sorts of things. All right. But what we're going to do, just in the interest of time, is we're going to jump in and we're just going to walk through a little bit of the picking process here. I'm just going to change this just so you can see it on the screen a little better. All right. So we're going to walk through the picking process a little bit. So I'm going to open up, this pick screen here. Now, on this, it's going to give me a list of all the picks that were generated in the system. So you entered the order, you submitted it to the queue, and bang, you've got a pick available. It shows up on the screen. Simple as that. And if you have any assignment rules in there, it might assign it to specific pickers or things like that that need to execute this document. Alternatively, when that pick is generated, it could print out on the printer. And that's pretty typical. Even people using the handheld scanners tend to stay with, printed pick documents for a couple of reasons. Number one is it's a nice trigger, physical trigger that says, hey, you have work to do. Oh, there's a piece of paper on the printer. I have work to do. I grab it, scan that document, and start executing it on the handheld device. The other reason is once I've picked it and I drop that order off at shipping, they know what the heck they're dealing with. They didn't just get 5 parts or products sitting in front of them with no idea what they are. They got a piece of paper that tells them what it is. Now, in my case, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the down arrow key on my physical keypad here to select that. Of course, you can tap and do all sorts of stuff. It's just I can't see what I'm tapping here, but you can tap on the screen, of course, and to select your document. And I'm going to open up this specific pick. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, I'm going to indicate which bin I'm picking from and indicate which item I'm picking. And this is the value of doing that barcoding, because we've got that physical verification that I'm actually picking what the system is telling me to pick. Now, these views are very customizable. We have another one that's what we call a card view that shows me one entry at a time, sort of in a full screen view. And once I've picked that, it shows me the next entry and so on and so forth. So if you're on a forklift or have a tablet on a pick card or something like that, that's kind of a nice view. We can also tailor these things, like if I go into landscape mode here, little button there. If I go into landscape mode here, in landscape mode, I've got a fact box, right? So you can set up these little fact boxes with pick instructions or pictures, and I can tap on that to make it full screen and things like that to really, tailor the view to match the way you want to work, right? All right, so I'm just going to go back into portrait mode here, and we're going to actually start picking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some barcodes that I have, and these barcodes are generated from our barcode generator module within Business Central, so just a list of sample barcodes. And this is what I'm going to be scanning to execute my pick. But we don't care what barcode format you have, which is important, right? If you're coming from GP and you've already got all your barcodes defined, or using vendor barcodes or customer barcodes or whatever you're using, you can retain those. We can scan those. It doesn't matter what the barcode format is. We can read it and pull the information out. So for example, this one here at the bottom has item number and lot number in it. We can fit item number, lot number, serial number, quantity, unit of measure, all of those different things in a single barcode. Okay. But what I'm going to do very simply is I'm going to come in here. I'm going to scan the bin I'm picking from, right? And it tells me at the bottom which bin I've selected. And now I scan the item that I'm picking out of that particular bin. The item that I scanned here is not lot tracked or serial tracked. It does optionally show you a picture of that item if you like, because if it helps with receiving as well. If I scan that and I've got it shows me a picture of a blue chair, but I've got a bag of sugar or something in my hand, I know I've got a problem with the barcode, and I can correct that before the problem propagates throughout the system. That's basically it. I'm going to, scan the barcodes, indicate the quantity. You can default the quantity to whatever you like. I'm just going to hit enter, and that's it. I've picked that particular product. Business Central is updated, and we're ready to ship it now. And there's lots of different ways you can set up Business Central. I've got a sort of a 2-stage picking process where I pick everything, and then I take it over to packaging station. They package it up and actually execute the shipment. But I could do all of that on the handheld device as well if I like. If I wanted to, pick, pack, and ship all in one step on this device, I can absolutely do that as well. All right, so that's basically it. I go through and I continue to scan and pick. I'll just do one with a lot number here for fun, just to show you what happens. It brings in the lot number and everything. I can tell you which lot numbers to pick, all that kind of stuff. But pretty simple, bin item quantity, and you're done. That's how you execute a pick. And most of the rest of the system is the same. So any of these applications that you see here, from receiving, inventory counts, movements, all of those things, production activities, all I have to do is typically scan the bin to indicate, yes, I am picking from this particular bin, scan the item to validate the item, and then enter the quantity. If you're in a location, like if you don't have bins, maybe you're in retail or you have a smaller, parts room or something like that, you don't need to use bins. My demo system here has bins enabled, but you don't have to do that. All right, now, once I've picked everything, the next step is to actually get it out the door. So we're going to do a quick shipment here. So the way it works, if you're running, a UPS World Ship or Ship Manager or any of those sorts of things on a separate system, that software all goes away. All you need is the screen. 99% of what your shippers would do is working in the screen. And the way it works is I've got a little, USB barcode scanner here that I'm going to use. Let me just show you what that looks like. And I just one of these little guys, but I'm going to be scanning barcodes into that screen. And the barcodes that I'm scanning are things like the order number, commands, item numbers, all those sorts of things in here. And so what I'm going to do is somebody drops off that pick that I just executed on the handheld. I'm going to scan that in here, bring up that order. These are the things that I need to pick, and I'm just going to quickly do that. So I brought that order up. I'm going to start from scratch here. Brought that order up. These are the things I need to package up and get out the door. So there's a few ways we can pack here. I can use the mouse and the keyboard to, pack all of this. I can also use something called a quick label that just says, hey, I've got one box, my standard size box, give me a shipping label and away I go. It takes like 3 seconds. But I'm going to show you the hardest possible way to use the system. And that hardest way is I'm going to scan the items that are going into the packages. And that gives me a couple of advantages. It allows me to, first of all, verify that the items that I'm packing are actually the items that were on that order, right? So it's that physical verification again. I can't accidentally ship the wrong product if I'm scanning that barcode and physically verifying that's what's going in there. And then the other advantage of that is, again, I get package level detail of what I'm shipping. So if you've got multi-package shipment, I know exactly, which items are in which box, all of those sorts of things. So anyway, let's do that. So what I'm going to do as the person doing the shipping or the packaging, I look at it, I say, okay, I'm going to use my standard size box to ship. And I just scan a command there that says, create a box for me that's 20 by 12 by 8. And the default starting weight is 0. This could have been a pallet. So I could have started a pallet that's 36 by 36 with, weight of 10 pounds starting or whatever. And now we've got this box. And now I'm going to tell the system what's actually going into this box by scanning these items. Again, I don't have to scan if I don't want, but I'm going to physically verify that these items are going into that box. So scan that guy, and it packs one of these guys into that box. And now we've got that. I'm going to scan that item again, and it's going to pack a second one into that box. Now you can also have it prompt for quantity, or if you've got lot numbers or serial numbers you want to capture at time of shipment, you can scan those as well. But now what it's done is it's packed 2 in this box. We can see what the weight of that box is because we're calculating the weight based on the data within Business Central. But we can also read that weight from a scale directly from here as well. And you know what? I'm just going to pack one more item into that box. So now we've got, these items packed into that box. We know the weight, everything else, and we'll pretend that box is full. So if we wanted to weigh it at this point, we could. So I could just hit get weight. And this would normally, read the weight from a scale. Because I don't have a scale hooked up, it's just going to ask me to type in the weight, which is fine. I just read it off the scale and typed it in manually, but we'll read that weight directly from the scale. So that box is full. We've physically packaged it up, put some peanuts on top of it, and we're good to go. So now I'm going to start the next box. And now I'm just going to scan the remaining items to go into that next box, and we're good to go. We're fully packed. We know exactly which items are going to which box. More importantly, we know we haven't packed the wrong items because we've scanned them. But again, if you don't want to scan, you don't have to, but ideally you want to scan. So now I'm good to go. Now, one thing I didn't mention earlier is nobody has specified how this order needs to be shipped out, like which carrier we're going to use, whether it's UPS or FedEx or whatever. So those are all blank. So when I go and say, get me a shipping label, the system is going to ask me to choose a carrier to use, right? And this normally doesn't happen on the warehouse side. Normally, you're going to select a carrier when the order is entered and everything else. or you might do this rate shopping during order entry, those sorts of things. But in this case, I've set it up to allow the warehouse personnel to choose a carrier to use. And so we've got all the carriers. This happens to be a shipment in Canada. So I have Purolator, I have UPS, whatever carriers I've set up, I can now select from this list, tells me exactly what the cost is going to be. And just as importantly, what we're going to charge the customer. So you can set up all sorts of rules to charge, freight based on markups, flat rates, discounts, handling charges, whatever you want to set up to drive what we're charging the customer. And that can be based on order value, customer type, carrier, all of those different things. But for this one, I'm just going to grab UPS Expedited, hit OK. And within 2 or 3 seconds, that shipping label, or those 2 shipping labels, because I have 2 boxes, appear on the shipping printer. I slap on the boxes and out the door it goes. Now I've just got it set up to print preview here so we can see it. But it's nothing special. It's a couple of shipping labels. And the tracking number would be on here and everything else. And away we go. Now, what we did there, I'm not going to show you in the interest of time, but we also send an email to the customer as an option with a PDF copy, the invoice, or the body of the email with a list of all the items that were shipped, anything you like. And we updated the sales order with the cost of that shipment. So even if you're getting that, quoting that cost from an e-commerce site or something like that, like the price to the customer, we're tracking the cost as well. So now you can do dashboards that to tell you if you're making or losing money on your shipping. Okay, so a lot of different things that happen there. Again, international shipping is all in there, automatic customs handling, all of that is in there. Whole bunch of stuff it does, but that's the basics. I did it the hardest way possible, but I spent like 10 seconds of interaction with the system here, other than the act of physically packaging the product, and I did all of those things. Emails, labels, updating the sales order, all of that kind of stuff was handled. All right. So that's basically all I wanted to go through. I did want to leave about 10 minutes for Q&A, about 12, so I was way ahead of myself. But I'll pause there if there's any additional Q&A we want to cover.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Colin. We're going to dive right in. Just a reminder to all, use that Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen to ask a question. Mark, it looks like the first one's going to be for you. So you showed off that scanner during your demo. Question about, can someone use their existing Windows scanner if they move to the cloud?
No. So you can use your existing scanners, but Windows scanners no longer work with the cloud. So security updates now prevent sort of Windows scanners from connecting directly to Business Central. So Windows scanners are 10 years old. They're no longer supported. You would have to move to an Android solution. And if you contact us, we can help you select an appropriate device.
Perfect. Looks like the next one will be for Colin. Can I leverage workflow with fields provided by other ISVs or just Cavallo fields?
Yeah, great question. So we kind of have 2 options for that. And with the workflow SKU out of the box by Cavallo through the Mission Control application that we saw, we have the ability to integrate any base fields from Business Central or other integrated ISVs into the workflow engine. So you can build your workflows, automations, and business logic using those fields provided by ISVs like InsightWorks or other out-of-the-box fields from Business Central. The other option to that is actually our custom field SKU. So we do have an upsell option where you can create your own custom fields, which will publish. Again, you can use them in the workflow engine, you can use them with business rules, and they also pass back into your core Business Central business objects. So your customers, items, line items, and document headers. So that would be my answer.
Cool. Thank you for that. And then just following up on that, talking about customization and mission control, what level of customization is possible that allows for defining order approval rules or workflows? Does that make sense what I'm asking you?
Yeah, it does. So as I mentioned, we have all of the base fields available to us. So whether that be any Business Central field that's available on any of those core objects, the customer, the item card, the document header, or the line level, we can pull those into Cavallo. You can build any business rule logic around them. We also support dimensions in that aspect as well. So you can build rules around your customer item level dimensions as well.
Thank you. Looks like the last one's gonna be probably more for Mark. Can folks mix the free and paid versions of InsightWorks? I know you have a lot of different options. Can they be mixed, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can mix and match whatever you like. None of those need to be purchased together. So you can have Ordership Express as the free shipping with the paid warehouse insight, or you can have the WMS Express free WMS with the paid shipping. Yes, you can mix and match as much as you like.
Awesome. Looks like that's going to conclude our Q&A. I have a couple questions that are a bit more specific to a specific organization, so we'll do our best and follow up with you on those questions. Want to thank our presenters, Mark and Colin, for your time in preparing for today's webinar. Of course, most importantly, want to thank all of you for joining this afternoon. InsightWorks is actually hosting a webinar next week on December 18th. Our Rob Slotzer from our product team will be joining Mark, and they'll be talking about enhanced efficiencies and profitability in Business Central. So taking a little bit of a deeper dive. So we're looking forward to that one. If you are interested in joining us for that webinar, head on over to the InsightWorks website and get more information and register from there. Lastly, there's going to be a really short 2-question survey when you close out of today's webinar. We would love to hear your feedback. Once again, thank you for joining us, and we hope everyone has a great day.
Thanks very much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.